Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this beautiful daisy flowers in a coaster set using clear epoxy resin and alcohol inks. Welcome everyone. This is Bernadette, Simply Be Fluid Art from Cape Town. The resin I'm using is a clear epoxy resin from Smart Products, and it comes in two parts, a part A and a part B. You have to mix these two together. So I'm weighing off 80 grams of the part A, and into the same cup I will add 80 grams of part B, and then I'm going to be stirring this together. Mix, mix, mix very well for up to 3 minutes to ensure that the two parts of the resin is really well incorporated. Now I like this resin because it's got a really thick viscosity. It's nice and dense, and it's perfect for coasters for what we are going to be doing today. So I'm also going to be mixing up a little bit of gold leaf, combining that with just 15 grams of resin, and this gold leaf is going to become the centers of those daisies, those flowers. So now that that is done, I'm using a clean cup, and I'm going to be using opaque pigments or dyes. This is a resin dye. I want to mix 40 grams of white resin dye into the clear epoxy. So I've weighed off the 40 grams, and I'm adding 12 drops of the white resin dye to create a nice opaque white mix. We are going to be using this white mix in our resin coasters as well. So I'm going to just pop in a thermometer right there. I'm using a kitchen stick thermometer, and this is going to help me gauge how that resin is heating up. And the more it heats up, the more it's going to thicken. So I've started at 19.8, and I at least want to take it to 24.8 degrees. So a nice 5 degrees higher than what it is when you start. So I've put a large beer mug down, and I'm going to be popping in a disposable icing bag or piping bag into this because the beer mug is quite heavy. You don't want to be popping in your piping bag into something that is very flimsy or can topple over easily. So laying down my resin coasters now, and I'm going to be pouring in some of that clear resin that is still left in my cup. And at this point, I'm just gauging. I'm not pouring everything in yet, just about 30 grams into each of those silicone coasters. These coasters takes about 50 grams of resin in total. So once I've got the little bit of resin into the coaster, I'm plonking in the gold leaf to create my centers, and then I am using the rest or the balance of the resin, the clear resin, to fill in my coasters and just sharing what's left in the cup between those four coasters. Once I've completed filling up the coasters, making sure that they are almost equal in the amount of resin that I'm pouring, I will pop the air bubbles. There I'm showing you what the resin piping bag looks like. I've used a peg just to stabilize it a bit to keep it nice and tight and snug, and I'm also feeling it to feel if it's now warming up. Popping the air bubbles with the air gun with a blowtorch first, and then I'm using that temperature stick again to poke some of the air bubbles, which really is stubborn. The blowtorch is not getting to them because they're laying quite deep down in the coaster, and then also trying to pop those that are clinging to the sides of the coaster. So make sure that you have a good look at your resin. The alcohol inks I'm using is from Darla, also a local brand. I love the way the ink plays with the resin. The resin is nice and dense, and so those alcohol inks can't spread out too much. Be wary or careful that you don't add too much of those alcohol ink drops, because you won't get a nice flower in the center. It's just going to be all over the place. So use between 5 and 7 drops. I have used a combination of colors, magenta and orange, and purple and yellow. So now I've picked up the white resin that's in the piping bag. It is now at 24.8 degrees. You can also go a little bit higher, no damage to that, but don't have it any lower because your resin will be too thin. So you want it to be nice and thick. And all I'm doing, I'm spiraling, making concentric circles with a piping bag. Now I'm using a skewer stick and I'm creating some petals by separating and drawing or pulling in the from the clear resin edges into the center, and then doing some spiral vortexes for the middle parts of my flower. I do this for each of the coasters, and when I've created and separated the petals, I actually pull them back out again so that I'm creating those nice pointed edges that you see on the daisy flower. So these coasters require, or the resin requires, at least 24 hours to set before you can unmold them. So I'm going to leave them on this tray so that they are able to cure nicely overnight. It's the next day and the coasters have cured beautifully. 24 hours have passed and it's time for unmolding. So I'm just loosening gently from the mold and taking the coasters out, laying them on a clean surface, and this is your reveal. Beautiful, beautiful daisies on that coaster. It is gorgeous and the resin is beautiful, clear and bright. There are no spots on it. No, apart from that little one, there's a small bubble there which I wasn't able to get to, but they are really nice and clear and absolutely super gorgeous. So do try this at home. It is super easy to do. No pressure and no stress. I hope that I have shown you enough. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section below. This is your close-up view, my friends. You take care now. Stay safe and stay well. Bye.